Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies and show you how they were made. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're getting nasty with it because we're looking at Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, first released in 1986. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but when I was growing up, this was one of those movies talked about in hushed tones. It was one you really weren't supposed to watch, like Faces of Death or Cannibal Holocaust. That's because this is a mean, nasty fucking film. If you have any hesitation towards seeing rape, incest, or sexual assault, just bail the fuck out right now. The vibes are absolutely rancid. Even the kill count is gonna make you feel bad, because that's what this movie is designed to do.
I admire the filmmaking, I admire the performances. The movie is not fun to watch.
I've come to appreciate horror movies in a pretty comprehensive way, meaning I can like them for vastly different reasons. Some are scary, some are funny, some are campy, some are thoughtful, and some are meant to make you feel bad. It's not my favorite kind of horror, but I have to respect it when it's done right and with a purpose. Like Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom. I nearly threw up watching it, and I felt like I needed a shower afterward, but I saw what it was doing and I think it has merit. Same with Henry. And I'm not alone here. Even Roger Ebert, who was often adversarial towards horror, gave Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer 2 thumbs up. He liked it more than its contemporary slashers because unlike those, Henry's violence is shown in a realistic way.
Do you find this entertaining? Do you find this, does this make you feel good in any way? I mean, this is what violence is like in the real world.
He recognized that the movie had to churn stomachs to show how truly evil real-life killers could be. And Henry is loosely based on a real-life killer, which adds to the film's controversy. For me, it's right on the line of what I feel comfortable covering. But since the events of the movie are mostly fictional, it falls on the side of the line where you get a kill count. Just know that this movie is grim as shit, as soiled as the sets and looking homemade enough to be a snuff tape. It will have some of the most disturbing stuff ever seen on this show, the kind of thing you'd find on Spooky Rice, who in fact covered it back in 2019. It's still a kill count, so I'll be joking around a bit, but most of the stuff going on does not exactly lend itself to comedy, so don't expect a laugh-a-palooza like, I don't know, fucking slugs. If you think you can handle it though, you'll get a truly terrifying experience with some shockingly good acting and a style that puts you right on the streets of Chicago in the 80s. The ugly parts, like the really ugly parts. This ain't that one episode of Stranger Things, you know? How many Hello?
James, oh, thank God you're okay. I'm calling to warn you.
There's a serial sicker on the loose.
A serial killer?
No, a serial sicker.
Sick, S-I-C, it doesn't matter.
They're going around attacking people with illnesses.
Oh. Well, thanks for the warning, but I'm already making sure to take the proper precautions to keep myself healthy. And you should too.
No, James, you don't understand.
I know, I get it, man. We're busy people. And taking the time to find, book, and go to the doctor is hard. But medical care is important, and being on top of your health ensures that you're in tip-top shape for all the things you want to do. Not to mention, it's easier than ever thanks to today's sponsor, ZocDoc.
But James,
ZocDoc removes so many of the roadblocks we run into with making a doctor's appointment by letting you search and compare local in-network doctors, see their actual appointment openings, and book right within their website. No more playing phone tag to schedule an appointment, and no uncertainty about whether your insurance works with them. And appointments happen fast, often within 24 to 72 hours, so you can get medical care when you need it, not 3 months later.
James, you don't understand. It's too late for me. He's already in the house.
Z-Man? Well, I guess he's off to make his appointments. Don't let a busy life get between you and a healthy life. Go to ZocDoc.com/deadmeat to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. That's ZocDoc.com/deadmeat. ZocDoc is what I said. How many kills will be painted in this portrait? Let's get to the easel and count them up. The movie begins with a title card and some plain as hell opening credits, Friday the 13th style. Just like with that movie, these simple visuals allow the score to shine. It's a haunting, twinkling piano tune punctuated by kicks of drum. Coming out of the credits, we get a few kills, including 3 women in states of distress and undress. They're dead and naked as the sounds of their fatal struggles play in the background.
Die, bitch! Die!
There's also an older couple who looks like they owned a store. Already we see there's not much of a pattern here. The kills are intercut with Henry going about his day like it was nothing.
Real nice smile you got there.
Thank you.
Oh, and then he leaves? That waitress, probably the luckiest person in this movie. Henry is a casual killer, choosing his victims at random from people he observes out in the world. Ah, shit, that one made eye contact. It's like when you don't want to be called on by the teacher in class. But called on she is, and Henry follows her home, feeling like the prototype for Richard Brake's character in Barbarian. The score and cinematography make Henry stalking feel like a dramatization in a true crime series, which is what the filmmakers were going for. Director John McNaughton had actually just made a crime documentary called Dealers in Death. The same guys who financed that wanted him to make a wrestling documentary as a follow-up. That fell through, so they took the budget and told McNaughton to make a horror film instead.
It's just like, here's $100,000, make a horror film, you decide.
He didn't have any ideas until he saw a 2020 piece on the serial killer Henry Lee Lucas. Another producer paired him with Richard Fire to co-write the script, which worked out great. McNaughton had the exploitation film sensibility, while Fire had a fine arts and theater background. Together, they decided to make a brutal character study following a sociopath without giving any kind of editorial commentary. They wouldn't explain why he did what he did, just depict it with an almost documentary-style detachment. I haven't seen McNaughton's other works, but I'm curious about him. I've only heard of Wild Things, for obvious reasons. Henry postpones this suburban victim when he sees she's not alone, but lucky for him, this hitchhiker is. He gives her a ride and gives us a kill that I'll count since she's never seen again, even though her guitar is. I'm just saying, it's a pretty safe bet he killed her. A chick sits in an airport looking like that one daughter from Roseanne. Not Darlene,
Becky?
Yeah, her! Becky won, not Sarah Chalk. Becky is getting picked up by her big brother Otis after having fled her abusive husband.
You look terrible.
I just said she had to flee an abusive husband, you dick. She had to leave her infant daughter with their mom, too, until she finds a job and saves up enough for them to move on. Too bad that life path takes her to Otis, who at first seems like a playfully teasing older brother, but who quickly starts giving off the ick.
What else can you do besides dance naked?
Oh man, that's his kid sister. This is just not what I want to see. Otis is an ex-con who met Henry in prison. Now they're roommates as Otis sorta drifts through life. He pretends to work at his real job and does his real work selling drugs to high school kids. Gets creepy with them too.
Fucking pervert.
Henry's a bit better at his job, spraying down baseboards with chemicals as a pest control dude. Yo, why does his boss look like Robert Goulet? The gear gives him a reason to hit up that lady he was stalking and gain entrance into her house. Again, feeling like Richard Brake's character in Barbarian. We end up seeing that he killed the woman later, with audio of the violence echoing on the soundtrack again. Looks like he strangled her, then maybe singed her skin with one of those little orange cap guns? I'm not sure. Henry gets home with his new guitar, and Becky is immediately taken with him. He's so dark and mysterious. A gentleman, too. He gives her his room so she won't have to sleep on the couch. She returns the favor by making them dinner, trying to get more deets about Henry as she does. Otis tells her Henry went to prison for killing his mama.
He killed his mama?
With a baseball bat. Her and one of her boyfriends.
As mentioned, the characters in this movie are loosely based on real people. Henry Lee Lucas was a convicted murderer who had an accomplice named Otis Toole and a teenage girlfriend named Becky Powell. Lucas confessed to literally hundreds of unsolved murders. Basically any case the cops would ask him or compel him to confess to. He was ultimately only convicted of 11 though, and possibly only did 2 or 3 for real. In fact, the evidence was so weak that then Governor of Texas George W. Bush saved Lucas from execution by commuting his sentence. Most of the kills in Portrait are entirely made up by the screenwriters.
It wasn't that we believed that he actually did all these murders, because there was a great deal of question, and now it's probably that he did very few of them. The idea that was more interesting, that it was believable that he could have.
That's why I'm okay covering this on the show, since most of what we're seeing is fictitious. Becky tries to make the apartment feel more domesticated, and tries to get closer to Henry after Otis steps out for the night. They each talk about their upbringing in monologues that could be used for an acting class, which makes sense since the material came from fictional biographies the actors wrote for their characters. Becky talks about how her dad was abusive, first physically, and after she turned 13, sexually too.
And he told me that he had a right, because he was my daddy and I was his daughter. And he fed me and let me live in his house, and he could do whatever he wanted. And he did.
She's played by a 23-year-old Tracy Arnold, who didn't have much of an acting career after this, which is a shame since she's amazing in this movie. At least she got an Independent Spirit Award nomination, that's something. Her tenacity and innocence is a needed moral core for the movie to be bearable at all. She makes it believable that Becky would fall for someone like Henry here, especially since his childhood was fucked up too. His mom was a prostitute who would have sex with her Johns in front of him. In fact, she'd make him watch.
And sometimes she beat me and make me wear a dress. I watch her doing it. then they laugh at me.
Henry is played by a 30-year-old Michael Rooker, who would later play The Walking Dead's first despicable character, and Yondu in the MCU. He's been on the kill count thanks to James Gunn's Slither, a Zoran episode. Henry was his first ever film role, and he's incredible. He went kind of method and stayed in character throughout most of production.
I wanted to keep my own kind of private space, and it was very difficult.
His wife wound up not telling him she was pregnant until after production wrapped, and he could leave Henry behind.
You cannot bring this shit home with you.
Henry admits to killing his mama, though he contradicts himself, first saying he stabbed her and later that he shot her, neither of which matched the baseball bat beating Otis talked about. Still, the fact that he killed his abusive parent at all, well, Becky kinda wishes she could have done the same.
I feel like I know you. Like I've known you for a long time. I feel like I've known you forever and ever.
Small town Becky takes a stroll around Chicago, and god damn it, I love when low budget movies have city street scenes. It's such a neat little time capsule. You know they ain't getting permits or using extras. These are just real ass people walking around. In fact, the guys on that staircase were two dudes having an actual argument who refused to move for the shot. Becky gets a job at a beauty parlor to the disappointment of Otis, who brings up her naked dancing again.
Were you really a dancer?
I danced some in a club, and I wasn't naked. I wore a costume, but I guess it wasn't very much.
When you gonna dance for us?
Again, worst vibes you've ever felt. Like black hole negative vibes.
Otis.
It even crosses a line for Henry.
Don't do that, Otis. She's your sister.
Okay, I was only kidding around, Henry.
Tell her you're sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Becky appreciates Henry's gallantry and suggests the boys go out for a beer. Otis is down just as soon as he puts on his favorite fish scale shirt. Alright, he's ready to rock! Our tour of Chicago turns to the dark side and visits the neon district of the city. Instead of beers, the boys pick up two sex workers on the corner. But during their parallel sessions, Henry gets violent and murders the one he's with, named Susie, by breaking her neck in the back seat. The other woman sees it and screams, and while Otis holds her back, Henry quickly kills her too by breaking her neck. He dumps the bodies and takes the wheel from a stunned Otis, who frets about what'll happen to them now. But Henry says nothing will. He knows that no one cares enough about their victims to bother finding who's responsible. Henry gives Otis a calm down meal and explains his whole thing with killing.
It's always the same, and it's always different.
What do you mean?
It's either you or them, one way or the other.
I like how much Otis really struggles with all of this at first, even though it doesn't take long for him to take the ball and run with it. Might be a kickball actually, knowing Otis, since that dumb idiot just kicked their TV into the nether realm. What now, man?
Shit, I got to have a TV.
Henry takes him shopping at a dude hawking stolen goods out of a storage unit or some shit. This guy is my favorite. He's such a classic big city asshole.
Of course it's black and white. What do you expect for $50? Fucking 3D, for Christ's sake?
I love that even the side characters feel like real people. Too bad he's next on the Vic list when he tries to kick them out for wasting his time. Henry stabs his hand with a cable, and then Otis holds the dude while he gets another few stabs in. But the stabbing isn't enough for Henry, who smashes a TV over the guy's head. He tells Otis to plug the TV in, and with a smile, Otis complies, and the guy fries. They steal a new TV and a camcorder, which immediately gets things even weirder than they already were, which is saying something.
Work them hands, Henry.
God, this sucks. Otis, you suck. But you can see how he'd pass as a regular guy when he's out and about. I mean, like a regular ex-convict guy, but still. The late Tom Towles is disturbingly good in this role. It's one of those ones where you have to actively work to not hate the actor for playing him. Towles was in Rob Zombie's Halloween, and more prominently, as the deputy hunting the Firefly family in Corpses and the Devil's Rejects. He was also in the Night of the Living Dead remake as the Harry Cooper to Tony Todd's Ben. Towles and Arnold both worked at the Organic Theater Company with co-writer Richard Fire, which is how they got hired. Rooker was an unknown actor from Alabama, but they knew he was perfect for the role at first sight.
My mouth dropped when I saw him, and this is true. I said a little prayer to myself, oh God, please let him be able to act, because physically, this guy is it.
Otis goes to the high school to sell drugs and rub teenage boys' thighs, which gets him socked in the face as it should. He tells Henry he wants to kill the kid in retribution, but Henry says he can't because he's been seen with him. If he wants to kill someone, it's gotta be a rando. And since Otis wants to kill someone, they go looking for a rando. They pull over on Lower Wacker Drive to give the movie an extra dose of Chicago flavor. Then they flag someone down to help them with their car.
You guys need any help? Otis, do you need some help, or can you do it yourself?
Otis shoots this poor Good Samaritan 3 times, the last in the head. He's left on the side of the road, another random victim as they drive away. As Otis plays back video they shot of, bum fights or something, Henry explains that being a good serial killer means always killing random people with random weapons in random ways. Avoid leaving any kind of pattern, and the cops won't be able to do shit since it's 1986, especially if you stay on the move, and in fact, Henry plans on taking off again sometime soon. Their next random target is in an upscale suburban home, and it is by far the hardest part of the movie to watch. It's truly awful. We watched through the videotape they recorded as Otis sexually assaults the home's wife at Henry's direction. The husband is already bound and beaten, and when the son gets home, Henry grabs the kid and murders him by breaking his neck right in front of his mom. After laughing at her, Otis breaks her neck as well, and Henry finishes off the family by stabbing the husband to death off screen. It is a truly disgusting, horrible display of evilness, though Henry draws the line at necrophilia and pulls Otis away from the fresh corpse. And these fucking freaks just sit there smoking cigarettes and watching it back on the TV. Otis even rewinds it for an encore. Oh man. This scene, understandably, caused a lot of viewers to walk out when they first saw it at film festivals. The reveal that they're watching it from their couch is the movie's definitive moment.
It's sort of implicating the filmmakers and the audience at that key moment. And you are then put in the position of being morally culpable.
It's the kind of thing that, while upsetting, elevates the film. Stuart Gordon even called the movie too artsy for the blood crowd and too bloody for the art crowd. Otis loves that camera and uses it to get creep shots on the street until it breaks since he was hanging out the window with it, and also because he throws it out the fucking car. Well, hey, at least that whole aspect is done. Becky gets word that her abusive ex has gone to jail. With him locked up and her missing her daughter, she plans to head home to be with her again. She tells Henry and invites him to come along.
Come with me?
When are you leaving?
Tomorrow.
Hmm.
You gotta think fast, Henry.
To think it over, he takes her out to dinner, which we do not see because this movie can't afford to shoot in a restaurant. Come on now. Instead, we catch up with them when they get back. With Otis passed out, it's finally time for these two horn dogs to get it on. Or at least for Becky to make her move. Henry looks very uncomfortable and confused here. Otis wakes up and interrupts, so Henry steps out to get some air. Really wish he hadn't, because by the time he gets back, Otis is raping his sister on the apartment floor. It's an intense attack, and Tracy Arnold actually hyperventilated and passed out during the take.
I came to him and went, oh my God, I think I missed my cue. I'm so sorry, I missed my cue. And they're like, call 911. I'm like, no, really, I'm okay. And it was horrifying.
Still, all 3 leads said they were grateful for the experience and wouldn't change a thing about the movie's production. Henry charges in and tackles Otis off his sister, kicking off a fight where Otis gets the upper hand with a bottle.
Adios, motherfucker.
Oh my God, but then Becky stabs him in the eye with a comb? Hey, good for you, girl. As Otis shrieks, Henry takes the comb and stabs him in the chest with it. It takes him a while. Otis dies hard, but in the end, he dies all the same. Becky freaks out about her brother's death, but Henry tells her to shut the fuck up. He can take care of this. All he's gotta do is hack apart Otis's body in the bathtub. Oh man, the bloody severed head is a great reveal. It's so gross. They pack up and leave in the dead of night, stopping at a bridge so Henry can drop the bags with Otis's body parts into the river. Becky's freaking terrified, but Henry says they can go to California and hide out. Then they can send for her daughter to come live with them. It'll all be okay, thanks to the power of their love.
I love you, Henry.
I guess I love you too.
Very convincing. They pull over to a motel and get a room so Michael Rooker can look in the mirror and the movie can get a still frame for the poster. Got it! He must have made a decision looking into that mirror because he tells Becky it's bedtime, and before we know it, it's the next morning and he's leaving by himself. He pulls over on the side of the road and drags a suitcase out of the trunk, leaving what must be Becky's remains behind as he drives away. The movie ends with that fucking downer. Did this fictional Henry kill more people than his real life counterpart? I mean, in all likelihood, yes, but let's see how many exactly and get to the numbers, where I can hopefully get rid of this damn Zorin! This suitcase. Get rid of this damn suitcase. I counted 16 kills in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, with 10 female victims and 6 male victims. We've never seen this exact count and gender breakdown before, meaning we can call this Henry Portrait of a Killagami. With a runtime of only 82 minutes, we had a kill on average every 5.13 minutes. Feels weird to award a golden chainsaw on a movie as grim as this, but I will give it to the electronics dealer. The stabbings were brutal enough, but the TV to the dome and the electrocution puts it over the top. It's as close to a fun kill as you'll find in this film. Dual Machete for lamest kill will go to Becky, not only because it was off screen, but because it makes you feel so damn bad. She's such a sympathetic character, and she has to end on an L like that, all dismembered and left behind? It's a bummer, man. And that's it. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer premiered at film festivals in 1986, but didn't get a wide release until 1990. It went through a bunch of shit with the MPAA, who refused to give it anything other than an X rating.
It was the overall moral tone that there were no cuts that would get this picture an R rating.
Because of that, it was released unrated instead, and there's no more explicit version out there. What we see is basically the director's cut, uncompromised by a ratings board, which is great to see. Up next, instead of a kill count, we're doing an all-timer jump scares video. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Like I said, when I was growing up, I feel like this was a very infamous movie, and I feel like I don't hear as much about it nowadays. Maybe it's just been crowded out by the other messed up movies that have come out since. You know, stuff like Antichrist and Human Centipede, I guess. I feel like those are very different than what Henry's trying to do, but eventually they all get lumped into the, like, really extreme horror fucking Jeff Hardy extreme horror. Yeah, Jeff Hardy, who just lost against my boy Ryan Nemeth, the TNA tag belts. Good job, Ryan. Did you watch this movie for the kill count? And if you did, are you okay? Or maybe you thought it was like overhyped. Maybe you watched it and you were like, that's it? Either way, I want to hear what you thought, so let me know in the comments. We are getting so close to fresh meat, and I cannot wait for you to see what we have in store. It's gonna be great. But in the meantime, be good people.